Good evening. Tonight it is 7:02. Tonight is the meeting of the Goffstown Budget Committee. My name is Joe Alexander. I'm chairman of the committee. It's March 22nd, 2022. We are going to start the meeting tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. Stacy, would you like to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Of course. So first thing on our agenda, I want to welcome all the new members. So we're about to engage in the swearing in, but I want to have Fred Plett, would you call the roll for us for the record, please?
I shall. Joe Alexander, you're clearly here.
Here.
Stacy Bellimer,
Present.
Lauren Dukas,
Here.
Greg Flegel, absent. Frank Hobbs,
Here.
Samantha Kearns,
Here.
Bill Cordes is here.
Here.
Richard Banjo
Present.
is here. Jeff O'Brien is
Present.
here. I'm here. Evelyn Redmond is here.
Here.
Melanie Renfrew Hebert.
Here.
Kelly Boyer is here.
Here.
Richard Fletcher is here. Yes. Jared Talbot.
He's not here, and Ellen was supposed to be in his stead, but he's not here yet.
Okay. Well, I've taken the roll.
Okay, so we have a quorum. Thank you, Fred. So we're going to start with the swearing of the new members. I just want to congratulate everybody winning their elections and welcome them to the Budget Committee. This is a great committee to be a part of. Kind of get to have our hands in a bunch of different baskets and really kind of see how the town runs as a whole. So welcome to the new members here today. So I'm going to defer to Selectwoman Boyer, who is going to swear in the new members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can I please have Mr. Hobbs, Mr. Manzo, Mr. O'Brien,
Ms. Kearns.
and Ms. Kearns in the center, please? So we can get you all on camera. So it's up to you if you'd like individual swearing in. I do. Okay. Yes, we can definitely do that. You'll hold that for me. All right, so we're gonna have you all swing this way so we can see you on camera. Just that. Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and do you first, Samantha. And you can put that in the All right, so you're going to raise your right hand and hold two sections.
I, Samantha Kearns, of 5 Washington Street, Apartment 4, Goffstown, New Hampshire, do solemnly swear that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and to the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God. I, Samantha Kearns, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent to me as a member of the board, according to the best of my abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help me God.
Kelly, how about we do them all at once? Or all separately? Let's do that. Thank you.
I, Frank T. Hobbs of 119 Daniels Park Road, Goffstown, New Hampshire, do solemnly swear that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and to to the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God. I, Frank T. Hobbs, do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent on me as a member of the Budget Committee. Accordingly, to the best of my abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help me God.
I, Jeffrey O'Brien of 110 Stephen Drive, Goffstown, New Hampshire, do solemnly swear that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and to the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God. I, Jeffrey O'Brien, do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent on me as Budget Committee member, according to the best of my abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help me God.
It is a pilot sheet too.
Trying to save money for the Budget Committee.
That's even was official. I buy things out of my own pocket. Yeah, just one of them.
I, Richard W. Manzo of 156 Oakwood Circle, Goffstown, New Hampshire, do solemnly swear that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and to the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof, so help me God. I, Richard W. Manzo, do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent on me as Budget Committee, according to the best of my abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help me God.
Either way, it doesn't matter.
You want all, both of them back so you can...
Just the original, just one copy.
Yes. I have my frame, yeah.
Thank you. Missing a signature on this one.
Jeff?
For the public, we're just finishing signing some paperwork and then we'll get right to it.
Hi. I'll give you that. Samantha. Samantha. Welcome back to the Budget Committee. She took your chair.
Yeah. No worries. You've been displaced already, Richard.
I was just trying to figure out what happened.
You have to start all over, Richard. You got these three?
All right, so congratulations to the new committee. This is the budget committee for this year. We're almost in full attendance. So with that, I also want to show for the record that School Board Rep Ellen Vermakowitz arrived at 7:08 p.m. So welcome, Ellen. So we're going to move right into the election of chair. How this is going to go is I'm going to recognize people for a motion and a second on a candidate, and then we'll move right into, if there's multiple candidates, we'll move into an election if that's needed. So with that, I'll take a motion for chair. Richard.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Jeffrey O'Brien for chair.
Okay. And is there a second?
Second.
Ellen Vermakowitz seconded that. So nomination by Richard Manzo, seconded by Ellen Vermakowitz. Any other nominations?
Mr. Chair, I move that nominations be closed.
You second that?
No, I
had raised my hand to make another nomination.
I'm going to recognize all of them. Go ahead, Lauren.
Mr. Chair, I would like to nominate Melanie Renfrew Hebert for chair.
Okay.
Second.
And there's a second for that. So a nomination by Lauren Dukas, seconded by Stacy Belmore. So there's two candidates on the floor. Are there any other nominations? Okay, so with that, we're going to close that. I'm going to recognize each of the two. First of all, Jeffrey, do you accept that nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Okay, and Melanie, do you accept your nomination?
I do.
Okay, so there's two nominations and acceptance on the floor, so I'm going to give each candidate a couple minutes to explain their position about chair, or why they would like to be chair, and then we will move into election, and I'll defer to the staff to help me with how we should do that properly. So I will start with Jeff.
Thank you. As someone who served on the Budget Committee for a term for 3 years, half of that first sentence where I was vice chair of this Budget Committee. So from a experience standpoint, very well aware of what is involved in running the Budget Committee meetings. In my personal and day-to-day life, most of my time, unfortunately, nowadays is spent actually running meetings via Zoom and telephone call. I also, through these years of service to the town and budget committee, developed good working relationships with those on the school board as well as other town administrators.
Thank you, Jeff. Go defer to Melanie.
I've only been on the budget committee for a year, but I found the process to be pretty standard with many other committees that I've been on. Through my work career with the school system, the college system, housing authority, and a few other publicly serving institutions. I've also been on other committees and am a trustee, the chair of the trustees for the Trust Fund for Goffstown. Have worked closely with many people in the community, not the school board so much yet, but many with the town. And I spend a lot of my time as well in Zoom meetings and other things.
Okay, great. Thank you, Melanie. So with that, I guess my question is, do we do a public roll call, or do we do a secret ballot?
There is no secret ballot.
Okay.
Typically, what you would do is you would vote on each of the two candidates, and you would just ask those people, ask the board members to raise their hand in support of the first candidate, and then hold another vote for the second candidate, and then whoever has the majority of votes.
Okay, Stacy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we have an opportunity to ask these candidates questions?
Sure. I mean, it's an open forum, so I'll allow whatever.
So this is a discussion opportunity?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Would
That was just
you
a
like to
question,
start?
and now I'd like to
Oh.
think about a question, if that's okay.
Samantha.
I have a question for Mr. O'Brien. Do you serve on any other boards or committees in the town?
As when I was on the budget committee last term I was elected to the school space needs committee as a budget committee representative, and I still continue to serve on that as a community member.
Thank you.
Stacy?
Mr. O'Brien, so you were not reelected last year to the Budget Committee. What did you do in that year to be more involved in Goffstown?
Well, given that it was mostly kind of a COVID year and a little strange, I actually spent a lot of time, with my family. Continued to go to community events such as Pumpkin Regatta, which we go to every year. But I also, due to COVID and the conditions in the economy, actually lost my job. So I spent a lot of time actually working myself, retooling what I need to do to get back out into the workforce.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Same question to you. What did you do over this last year? Even though you were elected to the Goffstown Budget Committee, what did you do over the year in the Goffstown
I just
Committee?
ask members to speak up so the public can hear too.
I wasn't loud enough?
No.
Okay.
No.
It might have been
First time I've ever heard that
I'm
in my
not worried
life.
about it.
I had trouble hearing Jeff O'Brien, so he has to speak up.
Oh,
No problem. No, but you did.
I'm going to break out my mom voice for you, okay? So over the last year, I've spent time on the Budget Committee, chairing the trustees of the trust fund. I've also helped with the kids' food program, which if you're not familiar, we give weekend food bags to kids at the local schools so that they can avoid that 72-hour period of hunger that occurs and isn't talked about. And I've also recently begun volunteering with the Community Clothes Closet.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. O'Brien, I'm sorry that I was not on the committee to see your service in the I think 2017 to 2019-20. So it's difficult for me to get a sense of someone and vote for them for chair, because I feel we have a very fair and even-handed chair now.
Thank you.
I would like to ask, though, as a voter on candidates night, I did not see a presentation or an advocacy from you, and I was just wondering what has changed your mind to want to chair this committee and keep us on task where, and again, forgive me, on candidates night, your presentation was disinterested, it seemed to me at the time.
All right, you're welcome to your opinion on that one. I like to keep it short and sweet. There was quite a large outpouring, I would say, one of candidates and as well as community involvement. So obviously I wanted to keep my presentation short and sweet and really get down to the point and acknowledge, I would say, the great presence from everyone, and what I've come back to this committee to continue, obviously, in the great work that Joe has done, keeping things on task. I'm a big fan of keeping things expeditious as possible. And I wouldn't say anything has really changed, per se, as someone who was the vice chair for 2 budget seasons. It's just kind of where I'm comfortable.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Okay, so how we're going to do it is I'm going to call a name and we're going to raise hands, and then I'll call the other name and more hands will be raised. Yes?
Yeah, and then either, what? No. You have to pick one or the other.
You
cannot cast votes for 2.
You cannot vote for more than one.
have to vote once.
So it's one or the other, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a majority. I kind of like.
No.
No.
Yeah.
And we don't need a majority.
That was my, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I like everyone.
All right, so I'm just going to call hands in the order they've been nominated. So I'm going to start with all those in favor of Jeff O'Brien. Please raise your hand now.
I have to say, this is tough.
Okay. Hold on one second. You got them all? Okay. And those for Melanie Refru-Hebert? Okay.
We've got 8 and 7.
Okay, well,
8 for the first roll and 7 for the second roll.
okay. So congratulations, Jeff O'Brien, as
Thank
chair.
you.
Okay, so with that, I want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to be chairman for this year. It was a great honor. I think we did a lot of good work, and I'm happy to be chair and have that privilege. So with that, I'm going to hand the gavel over to Jeff O'Brien.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Moving on, as the next order of business, we have the appointment of vice chairman. I guess this has always been in the realm of the chair to elect and appoint the vice chair. My appointment for someone who I've served on this budget committee with for quite a few years, actually has a really good handle on procedure. I would like to appoint Richard Manzo as vice chairman.
Thank you, I accept.
And with that, you get the paper too.
Do I? Thanks, Fred.
Thank you, Fred.
Thanks, Fred.
Next is the appointment of a CIP representative. Now, for those who are new to this, the CIP is the Capital Improvement Program, where you work with the planning board to go over all the projects, all the capital improvement projects that are coming up, and they generally plan out over the course of 5 to years or longer. I think this is a great opportunity for those that are new to the budget committee and budget process to really see some of the longer term kind of process and projects that are coming down the pipe and report back to the budget committee as to things that we should be aware of as we look towards budgeting season. This is an appointment, and I'd actually like to appoint Frank Hobbs to this role. I think this would be a good learning experience for you. I know you've been talking with the police and the fire chiefs and working with them. I think this would be a good opportunity to see the bigger picture. Do you accept?
I accept.
Thank you very much. Next order of business, we're moving on to the approval of minutes. We have 3 meeting minutes to cast votes on. First set of minutes is January 4th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Fred, second by Evelyn. Vote. Yay.
Discussion.
Discussion, sorry. Discussion on the minutes or any changes?
Do you need a pen?
No, I'm good. Nope. I usually take notes digitally.
All right, if there's no discussion, we'll go on to a vote to accept the minutes of January 4th, 2022.
All in favor?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
And I abstain.
Abstentions? I abstain. So, 1, 2, 3.
Should be all the new members also.
We have abstentions from,
I wasn't here.
Yeah, but
I
you
wasn't
can't.
here. Myself, Jeff O'Brien. Abstention from
my place to sit,
Ellen
sorry.
Vermakowitz.
Okay.
Abstention from Samantha.
Yes.
Any other abstentions?
because you weren't
Kelly
there.
Boyer is abstention,
I
and
remember
Frank is
different.
abstaining. That's all.
You got them all? I didn't see anything out of the ordinary.
Right, but you weren't at the meeting.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to.
No, I understand.
Interrupt the chair.
I appreciate it. Well, you were sworn in as a committee, yes.
Good. Next minutes to bring up is the January 11th, 2022 meeting after public hearing.
I move to accept the minutes from
Second.
January 11th, 2022.
And I second.
I have the approval from Evelyn and a second from Melanie. Any discussions, changes? Lauren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that we've had some turnover on the board. At the time that the warrant articles had the recommendations go to the town, I thought at the time that I was not the only opposition to Article 10 for the Main Street program. Am I incorrect? Because I thought I had there were other hands up, or were they abstentions that I recall? Was anyone else in opposition? I'm just,
Yes, there were, including me. Main Street?
there was, 10 was for the 15,000 for Goffstown Main Street program. It was decided to not recommend that one, correct? And then I was recorded as the sole opposition. I thought that there were other hands in the air, but I could be imagining that. Or it could have been the abstentions. I just wanted to go on record and ask, did anyone else oppose that was here?
Two recommended votes.
I specifically remember one in favor of recommending the 15,000 and then one abstaining. Was it you, Evelyn?
I abstain.
Right, so I think it was 1 and 1.
Because I actually thought it was recorded as 9. I thought there were 2 abstentions, 1 opposition, and I thought there were others in opposition, and if no one else here raised their hand, then my memory is in error. I just, like I said, I know there's been turnover, so I apologize to folks that weren't there. I just, at the time I saw the recommendation, I didn't think I was the only opposition, but apparently I am, so thank you for correcting me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, so there are no corrections? All right, we'll move on.
Just take a vote.
Take a vote to accept the meeting minutes of January 11th, 2022.
Aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? All right.
Abstaining.
Abstentions? One. Abstaining are Frank Hobbs, Selectwoman Boyer, Jeff O'Brien. Who also?
Richard
Are you
Fletcher.
abstaining?
Richard Fletcher,
No, not me.
Ellen Bermakowitz, Samantha Kearns. All right, other Richard. All right, moving on. Next approval of minutes is for February 8th, 2022, after deliberative session.
I move to approve.
We have a move to approve the minutes by Fred. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Joe Alexander. Discussions, changes?
Just for the committee's reference, that was the one right after deliberative where we had to take a vote because money articles were changed right after during deliberative. So that's all.
There are no changes. Take a vote to approve the minutes. And say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. Abstentions?
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay. Abstain from Bill Cordis, Richard Fletcher, Ellen Vermakowitz, Samantha Kearns, Jeff O'Brien, Kelly Boyer, and Frank Hobbs. All right. All meeting minutes are approved. Next order of business is reviewing the committee rules and procedures. So with the handouts, everyone should have gone up here in the front. Does anyone not have a copy of any of the town documents, rules of order, RSAs?
Yep. I've read those 4 times.
All right, everyone has a copy? All right. If you are not familiar with these, please review and go over them. That's about it. I don't know if we generally read these at the beginning, right? It's more just for review and purpose.
Well, I think that just give the committee an opportunity to amend it if they wish, and then we can vote on the rules of order and approve them for this year.
Okay.
But this is typically how we've been governing ourselves in the past. And then anything not included will refer to the RSA, and then other than that, Mason's rules, and then discretion of the chair.
Roberts
rules. My bad.
Wrong chamber.
Wrong chamber. That's right. I was thinking that. Never mind.
Okay. Great. All right. Given that we have these rules, is there anyone who would like to make any changes to the rules of order for our meetings?
I have a question, if I may.
Yes, Alan.
Under public comment, does the budget committee allow back and forth, or just it's a comment and it's done, and the committee can take action or not later? Is there a back and forth allowed, questioning and no?
Joe?
So typically in the past, public comment, there's no back and forth. There's 2 types of meetings we hold. We hold public meetings and deliberative sessions. So deliberatives is when we, as a committee, evaluate the budget in the transparency of the public, and then the public hearings, maybe once a month, or discretion of the chair will have those, and those the public will have an opportunity for comment.
But like at this meeting, if someone had a public comment, wherever that is on the agenda, there's no discussion. They can comment, and we accept it, and that we move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or recommendations for any changes or updates?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the rules as written.
All right, a motion to adopt the rules as written. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Richard. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion
Chair.
carries unanimous.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, do the.
Motion carries unanimously to accept the rules of order as written. Kelly?
Thank you. I would like, if you could just take a moment to mention the email portion of this and the requirements as budget committee members, just as a refresher, and as to our newly elected members, our responsibilities within email.
Right. I'd say, do we have the printer copy in here? So generally, email is considered obviously a form of communication between the group. So if you are on budget committee emails or emails that are being sent around, it's best practice to not reply to all. Respond directly back to the chair or individual, and we will obviously bring those communications forward.
Yes, we want to avoid 93A problems.
93A, yes, having a
91.
quorum.
Huh?
91A.
91A, forgive me.
Very important RSA.
Yes. And the 91A RSA, Fred, is?
You can't conduct business through email. It's all got to be in public.
That's correct.
And now, if you have an information email, that's one thing, but if you start talking something substantive, reply all, you're violating the law.
That is correct.
It makes a majority.
Yes, reply all. Keep it to a 0 if possible. Great. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just also as a point of reference, all the emails for the budget committee members will go through town hall, because none of our emails are shared, because we don't have an official budget committee email. So the emails will go to, you can email the director, the chairman, but any mass emails will go through the town hall emails.
Who would care about?
Catherine.
Fisher and
And
myself
Dan.
as finance director.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so
I'm a-
any emails? Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm just a little bit confused by that statement.
We don't have official budget committee emails through the
Right.
town. We have each our own private emails.
Right.
Which we have given. So we don't, any of the emails that are generated for the budget committee will come out of town hall.
So then they just email our own private emails? Okay.
Correct.
Right.
Figuring out how that goes. Okay. Like tonight, like
Right.
gotta come here tonight. Okay.
Great. Any other questions on email and email protocol? Good, thank you.
There's a motion.
There's a motion.
There's a motion to approve.
To accept.
I made a motion, and it was seconded, I think, by Richard Manzo, was it?
Yeah, but I think we voted on that.
We did.
We voted on it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice little-
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I lost.
I thought there was a new motion.
No, I'm lost.
I'm good, I'm not the only
You both we all agreed. It was great.
Easy, Joe.
Nothing, Joe.
It's a senioritis day for Joe.
Senioritis. All right, great. All right. Very good. Next up, we have any new business to discuss. New business from the town or from the school? Mr. Gross?
Right, sit next to you for a second.
You want the truth?
So, I just wanted to let some of the newer board members know, and those who, we will do an orientation. The town, Danielle and myself have done an orientation for new budget committee members over the last couple of years, and we've done it over Zoom. We could also do it, in person as well, but I thought it was, hopefully, I thought it was pretty good in terms of giving an orientation as to what are all the different account codes and what to look for in terms of the report. So what I'm hoping to do is, right now, the school board is going to nominate a replacement school board member in the next couple of weeks. So once that individual is nominated by the board, then I would, bring both Frank, Samantha, and then anyone else who wants to participate. We're gonna give like a refresher on the town and the school budgets. It lasted about, an hour and a half, we did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but again, if anybody wants that. The other thing that in both the town and the school do this is we typically will send you our expenditure and revenue reports on a monthly basis. So that, again, I send those to Catherine. Catherine then sends them out, to the budget committee. But that's something that we do, again, on a monthly basis. And my last thing that I wanted to share with you is that periodically, the school district received ESSER grant funds, federal funds, and Fred always, what's the ESSER? Anyway, so we receive federal funds, and part of that is that we keep the public informed as to what those plans are, and we hold public hearings every 6 months to this is kind of what we're doing. So we're holding a public hearing on April 4th for ESSER funds, and I just wanted to let you know if you want to come, or if you just want to tune in on GTV. And again, we have to do that every 6 months until September 2024. So just whatever that's worth. That same night, we're also having a public hearing. We received a refund from Health Trust, which is our health and dental provider, and the school district is holding a hearing to accept and expend those funds. And the district is looking at, Ellen, 7 or 8 CIP-related projects. So all of the items that are on that list are CIP items, and they'll hold a hearing there. So I reviewed everything at last night's school board meeting, and I'll do the same. I'm going to repeat the same process essentially, but that'll be on April 4th. So I wanted to let the budget committee know if you want to attend that hearing, you can, and if you want to watch it on TV. But again, it's part of our federal stipulations that we hold hearings every 6 months.
What time?
7 o'clock.
Can I ask, is that 100% funded through federal monies?
The ESSER, yeah.
And the CIP projects?
All of those projects I just want to clarify, there's 2 different things going on. There is the the Health Trust refund. Those are 7 or 8 projects. All of those projects are in CIP. I'll double check, which I will. I don't want to give you bogus, bad information here. I'll just read off what they are. Bartlett Media Center computer lab replacement in CIP 2022. Maple Avenue Playground equipment replacement, CIP 2022. Glen Lake door frame replacement, CIP 2022. Goffstown High School drainage, which is behind here, the metal shop, 2022. Seal coating and line striping of schools, CIP 2022. Salt shed at GHS, CIP 2022. Heating controls, RFP creation and management oversight, CIP 2022. And a district-wide portable radio project, that's CIP 2022. And on that one, the town is also doing a very massive communications overhaul, and we're looking to piggyback off the town's projects so that we have interoperability between police, fire, DPW, and our school system. And we're hoping by June we'll have that. So those are the projects that the school district is looking at in terms of that Health Trust refund. So those are all CIP.
So I'm confused, the Health Trust refund, where is that? Why are we getting that?
You're getting a refund because due to COVID, people did not have as many medical procedures, and therefore, it is because it's a pool, an insurance pool by a lot of school districts and municipalities across the state. They had a surplus of funds, so there were greater premiums went in than what claims were presented. So therefore, you had a surplus. Health Trust is not allowed to keep more than a certain percentage of money in reserves for future claim payments. So because of that, they have to release all of that excess surplus to municipalities and school districts, and for Goffstown, it was a little over $440,000. So the school district is looking to, again, we have a lot of CIP projects. They went to the CIP and they looked at these particular projects. So that's.
Scott, does the employees get any of it?
Yes, yeah, so the employees, this was less the employee share. So many of the employees pay, let's say 20% towards their premium. They also got refund checks, and we already did that in December and January. We issued hundreds of refund checks, not only to employees, but also to retirees who pay in some cases, 100% of the premium, so. Wow.
Fred?
Scott, may I ask, this was already approved by the taxpayers at our deliberative session. Since it's now being funded by Health Trust, does that mean there'll be surplus money coming back to taxpayers at the end of the year?
None of these projects were approved as part of next year's budget. So they were part of the CIP, but the CIP is a planning tool. It's not necessarily a budget tool. None of these projects were in the FY23 budget.
Usually the CIP does wind up in the budget.
It generally does, keeping in mind that for the school, because we have we start our fiscal year on July 1 and it runs through June 30th. The town is a more calendar year, January 1 to December 31st. We typically go, when it says budget year 2022, that's January to December 2022. For the school district, we go July 2022 to 2023. So that's why when you say these particular projects, they were not in the budget, but yet they are part of our CIP. So we tried to pick off everything in that first year of CIP. That explains it.
Well, I assume if it's not reflected in this year's taxes, it would have been reflected in next.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Or it wouldn't have been done. Right. It would have been deferred.
All right, thank you, Scott, for that update. Anyone else have any questions for Mr. Gross in the school? All right, great.
That's it.
All right, thank you, Scott. All right, Danielle or even Kelly, for new members of the Budget Committee, I remember when I was on a few years ago, the town funded a learning municipal budgets type class. Is that still being offered, and we'll be able to extend that out to any of the members here?
You can jump in if you want. Are you referring to the NHMA, the New Hampshire Municipal Association class? Yes.
Correct.
Yes, go ahead.
So
Thank you, Danielle.
as part of the town's operating budget that comes before this committee, there is a line for budget committee expenditures, and within that line, it is budgeted for members to attend. There's a fee, it's an all-day course, usually they provide lunch, and that comes out usually in the fall before you get right into the heart of the budget season, and NHMA puts on that presentation. We notify the full committee of the opportunity, and if anybody wants to sign up, they respond back to Catherine, she gets them enrolled, and then you'll be able, we pay the fee in advance, so you're able to just attend that day. And then the orientation that Scott was talking about that was specific to Goffstown, once, we normally do that in the spring, so once we have a date set, we will email that to the full committee, so it can be new members as well as anybody else who'd like to get a little bit more in depth on how we set up our chart of accounts and how things function for the town and school.
Great, thank you very much, Danielle.
I actually
Any
just saw
questions?
the dates from NHMA, I think today. They just came out with a couple of them. Yeah, so that'll be, like Danielle said, they'll email that out. I just have, Danielle, do you want to talk about what we were talking about earlier, the budget's CIP kind of wrapping up and our expenditures report, kind of where that is right now? Sorry, put you on the spot.
So for the town budget reports, those monthly reports, you'll notice that we post ours from March through December, and that's because in the first couple months of the year, we don't have a budget. We're operating as if we have a default. So when you get the March report, you see all of those expenditures for January, February, and March. But they appear on that first report. And then every report thereafter is posted. All of the reports are posted on the town's website, but we email committee members once they're available. So you have the link and can review those. Hard copies are available by request. What else did you mention? That you wanted?
I don't remember. We have started chipping away at the approved CIP projects.
Oh, yes, CIP
so
projects.
Those are coming through right now, trying to get them all taken care of. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, departments are already beginning their process for CIP planning because the CIP committee, which is a subcommittee of the planning board, that normally begins in May and runs through the summer. So those meetings will be held on Thursdays opposite of the planning board meetings. And so those projects will be discussed, all of the town's projects as well as the school projects will be discussed by the committee. And once a matrix is put together of how they think projects should be taken underway, that will go forward to the planning board for recommendation, and then that moves from planning board to the select board and school board for consideration in the budget. That process will be coming along very soon.
Great, thank you, Danielle. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to bring up two things. I know next meeting is on here, but one thing is the tours that we typically do with the departments. I don't know if we did those last year because of COVID, but that's something I'd really like to see if we can give the department heads a little bit more flexibility in setting that up since we have had our first meeting. Maybe if you could work with Danielle on, if we choose to do that again, just giving them the option kind of earlier in the season. And also our next meeting, perhaps making that recap or deep dive into the at least 3 months of the budget, kind of our meeting agenda, if you will, to have Scott and Danielle present that to us in person. It's just a suggestion, but I think it would be really beneficial for everyone to go through that together.
Speak up,
I
please.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah, we can't.
Kelly, we can't do that here.
Oh,
Thank you.
go ahead.
So,
No, you're not.
no, you're not gonna. So what Kelly was suggesting was that, during our next meeting is to go over that 3-month budget from Danielle, just get an idea of, what that looks like, obviously for some of our new members, and just kind of get used to, some of the process and the line items and what that looks like. Kelly also brought up something else that is very important, that I did when I actually came on the budget committee too, is doing tours. Now, some of you newer members, came on probably during the COVID and maybe tours didn't occur. So meeting with each of the department heads and walking through the fire department, the police department, DPW, really getting a chance to ask questions, look at obviously the facilities, because that's obviously going to tie into CIP items and obviously projects and initiatives that are coming down the pipe. So I will work with, I believe, Catherine, on getting those set up and what we have for availability. They're really informative, and I recommend everyone to make some time to be able to do that.
Mr. Chair, so.
Stacy?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 school board questions. So, so I think you said they haven't voted on a person for this committee yet, correct? Is that what you said?
It's in the process.
There are, I'm sorry, so that public again. So there's 2 separate and distinct things. The school board met last night for their organizational meeting, and there they put in their preferences to the chair as to which subcommittees they want to be on. The budget committee is one of those assignments or subcommittees. The chair has not yet, offered what those committee assignments will be, so we don't know who the budget committee rep from the school board will be. What I had referred to earlier was the fact that one of our school board members had resigned, and because of that resignation, the school board has to select a person to conclude that year, this year. They're holding interviews tomorrow night here.
That was my next question. Thank you.
They're holding interviews tomorrow night here at 6 p.m.
Yep.
Which is in public session. Yep. And then they will go into a non-public session on April 4th
Our next meeting.
to deliberate and to determine who would be the person to fill that role for the next year.
Excellent.
Okay?
How many candidates are there? Do you know?
There are 4, I believe.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Scott.
Mr.
Thank you,
Chair.
Stacy. Joe?
I should know the RSA better than I do, but do they have to fill that position?
Yes.
And is that position only until the next March election?
Yes.
Okay, I don't like the board appointing somebody. I'm just registering, like, maybe we should fix that law. I don't know who to talk to with that, but I don't really like
It's the same for town government.
Yeah.
It's the same for you, so, yeah. The process is the same for all these particular, bodies, although I think for the budget committee, does selectmen do that? Selectmen do, but it's by statute. But if the Board of Selectmen had a vacancy, the Board of Selectmen selects who that person would be to fill out the remainder of that particular year, and then the same thing, with the school board.
Just seems like a little bit of insider baseball to me, but that's just my opinion, so. Thank you.
Lauren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You had mentioned the Facilities Planning Committee that you had been on as a member and as a rep before. I am the Budget Committee rep for the Facilities Planning. Is that, I know we talked about CIP. We haven't talked about that committee in a while. I just wanted to bring up if there's an appointment or any change or anything on that one.
So it was just
I guess we'll hear back from the school and see if
So
this
it-
still exists or not.
Yeah,
It was just discussed last night.
Okay.
And the school board held off on holding a meeting until after the election. But I'll be working with Ellen and Jared, are the 2 school board members who lead that particular committee, and we're gonna be setting a date, I think in April, early April, for that committee to meet. Not that it's like super secret knowledge, but the committee probably has another 1 or 2 meetings. As you know, that they've done a lot of work, and Jeff, as you run the committee too. So it's got another 1 or 2 meetings left, but they've pretty much done what they were charged to do, and it's just a matter of, kind of responding to certain questions that the school board had requested as part of why that committee started, and it should be concluding pretty soon. So I would think 1 or 2 more meetings tops.
All right, that's what I assumed. Thank you.
As far as an appointment goes, I've seen you on the committee. If you still are interested, it's your seat.
Okay, thank you. I'm happy to continue, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to clarify that with the new term going forward, so thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, any other new business to discuss? All right, so moving on, we will be scheduling the next meeting. As far as scheduling the meetings go, I will be working obviously with Catherine and the town to get an idea of when tours can occur, and then they'll come back with a specific date. Generally, it's once a month, generally what we've been doing up until budget season, where it starts to get really fun, and you'll be missing dinners and family more often. The Tuesdays still continue to work pretty much for everybody. Pretty unanimous?
Nothing works, but let's go ahead.
Yeah,
what
Fred's a
Tuesday was
busy
that?
guy in his retirement, so I'm sure he's.
Say, I didn't see you, I saw some no-shows, I thought Thursday, so I know you're busy, but,
That's great.
maybe a
We'll
couple of
Definitely not
things.
Fridays for Fred, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't like Fridays either. All right, we'll continue on Tuesdays, and I will get back to everyone with the next scheduled date. Do we have any other orders of business?
Motion to
Mr.
adjourn.
Fred? We have a motion to adjourn from Fred, a second from Evelyn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.
Of course.
7:57 p.m.